Hi, my name's Kate, and I am a high school math teacher in the middle of my 17th year of teaching. Today, I thought that I would share with you guys how I teach the unit circle with my pre-calculus class. Before we jump into the unit circle, we do take a day to review the special right triangles. I know that some geometry teachers don't teach those, so for some of my kids, it's the first time that they're seeing those, but I find that they pick up on them really quickly. So after we review and kind of learn how the special right triangle shortcuts work, then we do this review or this matching by Algebra Einstein, and they get, all of these are already cut up into the different pieces, and then they look at the triangle and then they match just which piece goes with which one. And there are several different sets, so you can either give the kids just a one page and have them just match those. I just give them all and have them do them all, and then answer key, I check those real quick. So I find that that's a great way for kids just to really quickly practice those, and they work together in teams, and then it's pretty easy to check the answers. For homework that night, I have my kids do a special right triangles color by number. And again, I'll link all of this stuff in the description below. So they have 12 different problems that they practice just using the special right triangles, and then the color by number. So this is a winter themed one. So they have a cup of hot cocoa. They have these mittens, and they have this winter hat that they can color, and those come out really fun. I have found this year that I've been enjoying printing them to a page so that the pictures are smaller, and then if you have bigger classes, it makes it easier to hang up. So let me show you those real quick. Here are a few of those cut out and colored. I have a really small class, and because we've been dealing with extreme cold temperatures, students have been not coming because we have a 2-mile walk zone, so kids have to walk 2 miles. So didn't have a great participation with this. This is along with another color by number from my quantitative reasoning, but those turned out really cute. All right, go ahead and unfold your paper plate. You should have another beautiful crease on there. I know some of you guys are like, this is giving me anxiety. Good, I'm glad. You're welcome. Okay, the next one we're gonna do is we're gonna fold, get our plate back, our 90 to our 180 this time. It's like, no more, no more. That's it, I almost promise we're not, yes, you could fold it in half that way if it makes it easier, right? Once it was folded in, you could refold it in half again, or your 90 to your 180, either way. And then we fully person handled our plate. All right, so we should have 2 new creases that hopefully go through the center. If they don't, then you're fired. You're never working in the paper plate folding industry again. Good, sign me up, sign me up. Okay, so what you guys are going to do is using your ruler and the yellow, trace those 2 lines that you just folded with that yellow highlight. So we know that we have the 0 here. We know that we have the 90 here. And I folded this in half. So what should this angle measure be right here? 45 degrees, right? If I took 90 and I folded my 90 degrees in half, half of 90 is 45 degrees. So if I took my triangle here and I lined it up on my paper plate, it should line up exactly, which means that this angle down here is what, do you think? 45. So this is 45 degrees, so we're going to label this as 45 degrees, which makes the other angle up here 45 degrees. That's the relationship between if I know the short side, if I know the leg, how do we go to the hypotenuse? So if to go from the leg to the hypotenuse, I multiply by the square root of 2, how do we go the other way? Divide by the square root of 2. So on the back, we're going to just do a little bit of scratch work. So we're going to take our hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2, and then we have to rationalize, right? Because we can't leave our square root of 2 on the bottom to do anything with this. And again, we're going to pretend that it goes all the way to the edge, right? So here's my triangle, and I know this side of my triangle is square root of 2. That's the length of that. That's like saying, you know, the length of this part of my triangle is 1. This is the square root of 2 over 2, whatever that is. This length of my triangle is square root of 2 over 2, and then this one is 1. So what we want to do is using that triangle, remember how we figured out the coordinates, the easy ones, right? The 1, 0, and the 0, 1, and all those. Now I need to figure out what this coordinate is up here. Again, we're going to pretend that my triangle actually goes to the edge of the paper plate like it should. okay? So in order to figure that out, I need my x. So how far over do I go? Well, square root of 2 over 2, right? The length of my triangle, like if this came out to be 5, I would have gone over 5, right? But it's just some weird fraction, square root of 2 over 2. So that's my x coordinate, and then how high do I go up? Square root of 2 over 2. So what is the coordinate of this? Square root of 2 over 2, comma, square root of 2 over 2. So looking at your protractor, starting at 0, find your 30-degree angle. And then from this side, we're also going to go 30 over here. So marking, so I'm going to read from this side and I'm going to mark 30. It's still, it's okay. How do we get 150? So you said what? Okay, so why 15? How did you know to add 15? What's another way that we could have figured out that that was 150? I almost said 130. 150.
80 minus 30.
Yeah. So go this way. I'm bigger than my 0, 30. So this way I'm going to have to be smaller than. So you could subtract 180 minus 30, and that's going to give us our 150. And then again, if I add another 1/4 pi, we would be at our 1/2 pi, which we already have on here. So then what's our next one? What's 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4? 3/4 pi. So 3 pi over 4. We could keep adding our 6 as we go to 30s, or we could do the idea of subtracting. So here is 2 pi over 6. If I take 30 away, I want to just take a 1/6 away. So that's really 12 over 6. So then taking 1/6 away would be 11 over 6. So 11 pi over 6. We started with a really fun paper plate activity, which helps the students discover the unit circle. So I will leave a link to this in the description below, along with anything else that I talk about as I explain this unit. So my students did the paper plate activity today where we discovered the unit circle, got it all filled in, and then I introduced the unit circle project to my students. The unit circle project is a project that the students are going to work on until the end of the unit, which is just a couple of weeks from now. And they have to make an artistic representation of the unit circle using any medium of their choice. So this is a real fun activity for the students to show their creative side. And they have to use a protractor to accurately label and measure the angles. They're not allowed to pre-print the unit circle and just slap it on. They have to create it themselves. So after we did the paper plate, we walked through the project, and then I showed them some examples. So I'm going to show you guys some examples of past year's projects so you can get an idea of what my students have done in the past. So one of my students made the unit circle out of, it's just like foam, and they turned it into a kiwi and did the unit circle this way. One of my students works at Taco Bell, so she did hers on some tortillas or flatbread, something like that. She did bring them in, took pictures so that obviously I didn't have to keep the food. One of my students did hers on Minecraft, so that one was really fun. I loved how she did that. And then one of my students was a drummer, and so they did their unit circle on their big drum. So obviously took a picture since I couldn't display this or keep this one. I had a student do a mobile with the planets, and on the different planets they had the different parts of the unit circle, and I thought that was a really creative way of displaying the unit circle. So it got a little smushed, but one of my students made the house from up. I thought this one was absolutely amazing, how they used different balloons to show the different parts of the unit circle. One of my students did a drawing here just using pen, using the unit circle on the headlights. I had lots of different drawings for students doing. So they did a dartboard and they used darts and showing the special right triangles. My students was huge into wrestling, so she did a unit circle with a wrestling mat, and these wrestlers do move. They're a little squished right now, but they do move back and forth. One of my students recreated the PlayStation 5 and made discs and used the unit circle as their discs, and they do have, there's the opening so that you could put the discs in. So I thought that one was really creative, just taking something that they were really passionate about and turning it into a project. I had a student use drywall, and they created this just using nails and string, and they wrote on here. I thought that one was a really creative, cool idea. This one's probably my favorite one just because it's impressive. I was not expecting this. So she has this huge chunk of wood and she did wood burning when she did her project. So look at that. That is incredible. Oh my God, this one is absolutely my favorite one. And then we have this project here. We have, I think my kids told me Gary. I don't know, don't watch SpongeBob, but painting, a lot of fun. And then one of my students is a gymnast, so she did the unit circle of gymnastics and then watched as the gymnast does her giants around the high bar. So I thought that was a lot of fun. Student favorite, my kids all really like this one. I do require my students to memorize the unit circle. So one of the things that I have found that has been really helpful over the past 2 years for having my students memorize the unit circle is this big unit circle right here. I will leave a link for this in the description below. I printed off all the different parts of the unit circle. I found those from the Math Equals Love blog for free. So again, we'll leave a link for that below. And I have these 3 boxes. I'll zoom in just a minute, but I have these 3 boxes, and each of the boxes has the different parts. So we have the coordinates, we have the radians, and we have the degrees. And as my students come in, I'll have just notes up there that say, okay, you need to put 2 of these up, 1 of these up, 5 of these up, whatever, depending on my class size. And every day the kids come in and they grab however many of each one that they're supposed to, and they put them up. And I have them all face down so the kids can't see them ahead of time, so they can't say, oh, I know where this one goes. They have to, it's like a blind draw. They grab them, they put them up. And I find the first time that the kids do it, they help each other. They grab their unit circle, paper plate, they use that to help them. And then as they do that every single day, so the next time they're a little more confident. By the 3rd time, they don't even need their paper plate anymore, and they're just putting them up there super quick. They fix ones if they see that they're wrong, and that really helps them memorize the unit circle. This is what it looks like when the kids come in. They're all face down, and I'll have sticky notes over here telling them how much of each one to grab. So they'll grab however many, and they can see square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. So it'll go right here. Take 3 pi over 4. That will go up there, and then they grab the last one, 30 degrees, and they can label the 30 degrees. So I have found that this has been really helpful for the kids. So again, they do this every single day. So at the end of class, I'll take it down, I'll resort them back in the boxes, and I'll mix them up. And then when they come in again, they'll grab them again, and they'll hopefully have different ones, and that helps them just practice over and over and over again. So again, I have found this to be super helpful in helping my students memorize the unit circle. After my students do the paper plate activity, then we really start working on how to use the unit circle. So we spend a couple of days looking at this, and the first day we really just focus on, okay, let's practice how to use it. I do show them a YouTube video that talks about the hand trick. So again, I will leave that in the description below. I do have some students that find it helpful, some students don't like it, and they find other ways to memorize, but I love showing kids a lot of different ways so that they can figure out what works best for them. After we talk about how to use the unit circle, then start it in class, and the kids may have to finish it for homework. We do another color by number, and just working on trig recall. So again, they've got 12 different problems that they work through, and the pictures that they get to color, because we're getting close to Valentine's Day, these are some of my favorites. So we've got these cute little Valentine gnomes here. And we've got that one. So the kids color those. They have fun with this every once in a while, you know, especially with pre-calc, we move so fast. We don't really have a lot of time to do a lot of fun stuff. So when I can, I'm trying to do some of these, and that's why 2nd semester we have a lot more of these. So the kids have really enjoyed doing these. So we do this in class. They finish it for homework. It gives them good practice. The next day when they come into class, they do the magnetic board again every day. They do that every single day this unit. In fact, I will randomly pull it out other days and say, okay, you guys are going to put that up, just see how well you guys are remembering this. We do some more practice. I show them the hand trick video again, just as a reminder, and then we play bingo. The kids have fun with this, so they create their own bingo board. And again, I'll leave this below. And I made bingo cards. I made all of the different possibilities of how to get -1/2 and how to get negative square root of 2 as our answer, and you know, how to get square root of 3. So all the different ones that I could give them, so that I don't repeat an answer again. And the first time we play bingo, the kids, it takes wherever because they're not fast at it. So I know that this is gonna take a long time, setting up the board even. So we do play this. I have bingo chips. I have really many trash cans that I got at Walmart like forever and a day ago that hold all of the bingo chips, but they get so competitive with bingos. So we play that a lot throughout the year. Every once in a while, okay, take out your bingo cards, let's play some unit circle bingo, and the kids get really excited about that. The other thing that I do with my kids that day, just again to really reinforce this, is we do a paper chain activity. So the kids get these, they work through them. So they start at the start, they answer, they figure out, okay, what is tangent of pi? Then they find their answer on the answer blanks over here, and then that's the next problem that they do, and then they cut them out and they link them together to make paper chains. So again, pulling out some fun, like this is, you make paper chains when you were in kindergarten, first grade, right? But I have them do them, it's a lot of fun, and then I hang them up in the classroom and, instant decoration, and the kids just find it fun because, we get to play and have a little bit of fun for once. And then the homework that they have is just a real basic assignment. Just here's a unit circle, here's a bunch of problems, and figure those out. So sometimes homework not quite as fun as others. So we spend 2 full class periods really practicing on using the unit circle, and as we're doing that, I'm encouraging the kids, okay, how can you memorize this? Keep working on memorizing it. And then the next day, so this is 3 days after we do the paper plate, my kids have their first mastery test. They're given a blank unit circle. It looks exactly like the unit circles that I've been giving them, and they just have to fill everything in. And the very first time that we do the test, if the kids can get everything perfect, so they don't have any missing numbers, they don't have any missing negatives, nothing, it has to be 100% perfect, I give them a 25 out of 20 points. So they get extra credit if they can have it memorized the first time. If they have anything wrong, it goes in the grade book as a 0. And then the next time I see them in class, anybody that needs to, we'll start out the class period doing the unit circle mastery test, and the kids have a chance to redo that. So if they get everything right the second try, they get 20 out of 20, or if they get something wrong, it's a 0. Third try, get them all right, 20 out of 20, they get something wrong, 0. And we just keep doing that until all of the kids in the class have the test mastered. Now, the first time I do this, I'm printed out on gold paper, and that way I can see, okay, this was their first try, and then every time after that, I just print it out on white. And once everybody has them mastered, I post them up on one of my bulletin boards back here, and then we can see the ones that are on gold paper are the people that got it right the first try, and then the ones that are on white, people that needed extra time. But again, celebrating everybody mastered the unit circle. My first year of doing this, I had all but one student get it the first try. Last year, everybody got it the first try, so I did tell that to my kids, and I was like, no pressure, but I have found that using that magnetic unit circle and really spending 2 days on it before I have them do that mastery test has definitely helped. There are a few other concepts that I do teach in this unit along with the unit circles. We're looking at converting from radians to degrees and coterminal angles and reference triangles, and we're doing a bunch of other things as well, but the big main focus is on that unit circle. One thing that I do have students that love to get extra practice because they really want to make sure they understand the material, so I always try to offer at the end of each unit, okay, here's some extra things you can use as reviews. One of those things that I have is a trig recall maze for my students. So I do have this both in radians and degrees. Now with my students, we just focus on radians. So I'll give them this, and actually I have a couple of versions of this that I'll give my kids. So if they want extra practice, I'll give them that. I'll post the answers on Canvas because it's not something I'm taking for a grade. And these kids really, they just want to understand it. They want to learn, they want to do really well. A lot of them are moving on to calculus next year. So those kids are really on that pressure that they want to understand so that they'll be successful next year. And my seniors, they're taking this for college credit, so they want to have a good college grade. So finding other things, mazes especially for my kids, they love to get that extra practice. Another thing that I haven't used it yet, and I'm really excited. I got it after I did the unit circle practice last time, but I have a bunch of these graphs and they're sticky notes. So here there's some unit circle ones, and when we get into graphing, we'll have those. But I think I'm going to maybe one day, just give them a sticky note, and there's a ton on here. I mean, that's a pretty good stack. I just give them to my kids and say, okay, this is just a practice one, fill out the unit circle. Yes, I know that these are really small, but just a fun way to use these. I use these other graphs all the time with my students when it's, hey, we're just gonna graph one or two things, so there's no reason to bust out a full piece of graph paper and spend time waiting for them to draw the X and the Y axis. Just slap down a grid real quick, and that has been a lot faster than waiting for them to draw everything. So again, I will leave a link for this in the description as well. So that in a nutshell is how I teach the unit circle. Now, when I filmed that was the first day of going through everything, and then everything went downhill from there with my kids this year because we had crazy weather. It's been really cold, and then we had ice, and so we've had two-hour delays since doing this, and we've had 2 e-learning days since doing this with this group of kids. So my students have had to do a lot of this on their own, unfortunately. But it's worked. We've still done as much of that, as I talked about in the video, as we could. My kids just took their first unit circle mastery test yesterday, and out of my 12 kids, 10 of them got 100% perfect. The other 2 had just real small things, so they're pumped to try it again. So if you guys found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in following along more with my journey of teaching high school, please subscribe. I do upload videos every Friday. Hit that notification bell to be notified when my video goes live, and I will catch y'all later. Bye.